The presidential fitness test is back. Remember that? Late today, President Trump signing an executive order reinstating the National Fitness Assessment, a public school program started in the 1950s that asked students to perform a combination of push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, and running. Those with high enough fitness scores eligible to receive the Presidential Physical Fitness Award, you may remember. In 1985, that included running a 3:30 half mile for 8-year-old boys and just under a 4-minute half mile for girls. For more, Dr. Jordan Metzel joins us now. He's a primary sports medicine doctor at the Hospital for Special Surgery. Doctor, I like your headphones there. Thank you for joining Top Story tonight. So today, the White House and Health Secretary RFK recalling the way his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, advocated for youth fitness in the early 60s. You might know this phrase he coined, the soft American. Let's take a quick look at the JFK-era program right now.
You've probably heard that American kids are getting soft. The marshmallow generation, some people call them. Overstuffed and overindulged, they supposedly are incapable of hard work or response to challenge.
In the early 60s, a primary concern was television. Now with phones and screens and video games. As a doctor, how concerned are you today about kids' fitness? Because you look at that video and that could seem, you know, we understand the philosophy behind it, but it could also seem incredibly insensitive.
Evening, Tom, and great to see you. And it's absolutely right that American kids are overweight and inactive. We have about 25% of our population under the age of 18 is overweight. About 80% do not meet CDC recommended levels of activity for general fitness. I am all in with getting kids to move more. It's great for their health. Now, the question is whether a physical fitness test will inspire that. That's a different discussion. But definitely that video from JFK era is still true today, probably more so.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, though, what about the messaging, though, right? Because, I mean, the presidential physical fitness test was hard. I can remember it. I mean, I remember, I went to an all-boys school, and a handful of the kids would get it, even in our grade, and there was a lot of athletes in the grade. It's great to test yourself, right? Great to get in shape. But nowadays, we've learned so much about sort of mental health, right? And I'm not saying you have to be soft on kids or you have to be soft in general, but I do get concerned about maybe sending the wrong message to kids, especially when they're growing up, and weight can be an issue.
For sure, we want to figure out how we can get everybody more active. I think one of the big problems we have is we have kind of a hyper-specialized upper echelon of very active kids that are the elite level soccer players, baseball players, a lot of resources for those kids. The bottom part of the iceberg, the people who are less active or inactive, we have a much bigger problem with that part of our population. So we want to figure out how we get those people active. I'm not certain whether the presidential physical fitness test is going to be, you know, the hill I want to put my flag on to say this, if we do this or don't do this, it's going to make a difference. We definitely need to think about how we get our population more active, and particularly our kids more active. One thing we definitely know is that active kids become active teens, active teens become active adults, and the number one factor in terms of kids staying active across their lifespan is enjoyment and community. So whatever that means in terms of what they do, whether or not they play NBA or Major League Baseball or NFL, just getting them active and getting them going is a key. And we need to keep thinking about ways to make sure we're doing that for everyone.
Yeah, I want to take you back to the great 1980s. And I don't know if I remember this moment or if I saw it, but President George H.W. Bush it's actually 1991, inviting Arnold Schwarzenegger to come out to sort of be the spokesperson, if you will, and that model of fitness. He invited him to the White House to promote what he called the Great American Workout. What would it take, do you think, today, with all the screens, all the apps, all the video games, to get kids excited about staying healthy?
Well, I think the downside is that people are less active because of those things, but there's also an opportunity, you know, thinking about the way we get, you know, why do some fitness brands succeed online and others have had a big problem? And we have a capacity to think about gamification. Look at Arnold there and all these kids. They're smiling. One thing we've learned is that either in-person or even virtual gamification increases compliance in any activity. That's why people are doing TikTok, because it's fun. So how do we think about combining physical activity and fun and community and fun? we can make virtual communities in different ways than we can make them before. So it's not all bad news. We just have to be creative about how we do it, what kind of reward systems we set up. There's a lot of, I think, really exciting things that can be part of this discussion as well. I think the focus, though, needs to be the human body is the same body. It needs to move. It needs to be active. It needs to be well fed. And we need to lay off some of the junky foods, which is another part of the problem as well.
Yeah, a lot of those processed foods can be a danger. And doctor, what tips do you give to parents out there with kids to set a good example, right? To make sure their kids do stay somewhat active?
No, I think very active. I think the key we know for is that fit families make a big difference. So, parents finding activities to do with their kids, activities that they can all do together, going for a walk. I remember growing up, we used to do like Wednesday nights, we would go to the local track with my brothers and parents, and we'd have like evening night at the track. It was fun at the time. I used to look forward to that a lot. So figure out what kind of activities you can do. These kids seem to be having a great time playing with those hula hoops, but figure out what kind of activities you can do all together as a group. But making communities, making fit families, making fit activities that people like doing, those are all great things to think about.
Evening night at the track. Okay, I'm going to write that one down. I'm going to see what my kids say tonight when I propose that one. I think it sounds like a great idea. Doctor, thanks so much for joining Top Story.
My pleasure. Great to see you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.